Alright guys, here's our first video for installation instructions of our newly released machine shed kits. The kit in front of you is a 12-inch by 9-inch machine shed, which scales out to 64 feet by 48 feet. Everything you see here is what you'll receive in the kits. 3 sliding doors, siding for all 4 sides of the building, siding for the end trusses, siding for the roof, purlins for the roof, some different size trims for some miscellaneous pieces, sliding tracks for the doors, and the trusses, 6 trusses for the building. Beyond what comes with the kit, what you'll need for installation is some glue. This is what I use. You can use whatever you want though. If you want to add some color to your siding, some simple spray paint. Krylon's what I like to use. It dries quick, adheres good to the styrene. You're going to want to put several very light coats on, an X-Acto knife or something to cut with, and a straight edge. There will be a minimal amount of cutting required. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started with putting this together. Set everything off to the side here, except for the walls themselves. That's the first thing that we're going to need. And all of our kits, no matter what size they are, whether they're the 64 foot long, they're 80 foot, 120 foot, 80 foot wide, they all go together this exact same way. Just the fact that this piece may be a little bit longer or a little bit shorter still requires it all to go together the same way. To start off, I like to have something laying around that's kind of square. Sanding sponges work good, or some smaller squares that can set up. First thing we're going to need to do is you're going to need to notice that there's a top and a bottom to the walls. If you look at the spacing between the boards on the wall, you'll see that towards one end they're a little bit tighter than they are on the other end. This is considered our top. So to put this first piece together, we are going to take our glue, put it onto our flat edge at all the spots here where it's going to meet up. Take our next piece, simply set it on top, make sure everything's lined up, and this is where I like to use these square straight edges to help align everything. Make sure the top looks good. Let's set our level on there. Use a second one of these to hold this square, and then let that dry. For this video, I have some of this Bob Smith Industries accelerator. Kind of helps things dry a little quicker. Then I'm going to spray on some of these glue joints so that I can move right through the video a little quicker. So once we have that side set up and ready to go, we're going to spin this around and simply go to the other side with the same setup. Again, just dab some glue on each of these. It's better to use the side that is flat versus the side that has the post on it already. Again, make sure you've got your top and bottoms lined up or appropriately oriented. Set this piece up. I'm going to set my triangle in there or my square in there to make sure we're upright. Double check our edges, put that tight against it, throw that guy tight against it, and spray. Again, you don't need to spray. I just am doing it for this video just to help things move along a little bit quicker. For the last side, we're going to go ahead and put glue on both ends of it. Turn this U shape that we have done already upside down, and set it right into place. Carefully lining up the edges, lining up the boards, make sure they're all in a straight line, and then I'm going to spray again. Move over to the other side. Depending on what type of glue you're having, you may have a little bit more free time to work here, or you may be in a rush, kind of like I am. And spray. So simply enough, we have our 4 walls. So one of the things this kit comes with is 2 sets of sliding doors. One's made to go here in the end and will open up a 6-inch wide gap. One's made to go here on the side and will open up a 3-inch gap or door opening. They don't come pre-cut because want you guys to be able to decide wherever you want to put them. Maybe you want your opening here, maybe you want it here, here, here. Doesn't really matter. At this point, we're going to use this opening to be our smaller side door right now. So this is where you'll want your X-Acto knife. I happen to have a couple different ones here, a little bit heavier duty one. Come through and you're going to snap the bottom board out, number 2 board, number 3 board, and number 4 board. We're going to do that on both sides. Just pull those to the side, throw them away, and now you're going to have your opening into your side. One other piece this kit comes with, that I did not have laid out here, that I need to cut real quick to add to the kit, is this kind of backup board. What this will do is this board will help whenever you install the door. It'll help with being able to put a little piece of styrene right above it. It'll lay right in there because our door is going to slide to this side. We'll dab a little bit of glue on each spot. I'm not real worried about this setting up super fast, so I'm not going to rush it too much. All right, so the bigger opening, so we have the shed sitting here. We got the smaller single opening here. We want to come down to this end and put the larger 6-inch wide opening in. This one's a little harder to cut out, but still the same philosophy. On this one, we will cut one board higher. We'll make this opening a little bit bigger. So we're going to cut the bottom board 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're cutting everything but that very top board. The part that makes this one a little bit harder is you do have to go ahead and cut this 1/8 inch by 1/8 inch post also. So again, we're going to pull that, get it out of our way, throw that in the trash. Now we have both openings to our shed. At this point, I like to go ahead and add the end trusses on. What this allows us to do is install the trusses, lay the thing flat, and make sure our lines line up. So one thing you'll see with my truss kits is this little notch on the sides, which are made to the size of the shed. So if I turn this one upright, the little notch is just barely clearing on both sides. It's going to help you leave everything squared up. And it's also on bigger sheds going to help with bowing in the middle, making sure that you're not shoved in too far or bowed out too far. That'll help on bigger sheds as you get more and more trusses down through there, making sure your building's staying square. On this truss, I'll just add a little bit of glue along the bottom of it. Set it right into place. I like to go ahead and turn it over and lay it flat and make sure those two things are lined up. So make sure you don't glue it to your table. I move it back and forth here a little bit, holding it down tight, making sure everything's flush here, making sure we're lined up on the edges still, and everything, we don't have any gaps along this board and the top truss. Flip it over, grab a second truss, and we'll do the exact same thing to the other end. Again, we'll hook that little edge on there. Slide this little edge right down over. This one's very tight. It's one of the little imperfections of being handmade. So we'll take our X-Acto and just trim that back a little bit just to give us a little bit more room there. Now we can take this truss, and it does sit down over top of there. Again, turn it up on end. Make sure everything's pushed together tightly. Make sure everything's lined up. Slide it back and forth a little bit. Make sure we're not gluing ourselves to the table. So with that step out of the way, we will start installing some of our tracks for the doors. This is for the side door, the 3-inch wide. As you can see on this kit, I've went ahead and painted all of the trim. I've painted the roof. I've painted the doors all green color. So on here, we'll go ahead and throw this on. Should be down. Should have just a hair of board showing underneath of it. Not too much, but just a little bit. That'll go on right there. Let that dry for a second. Again, under the circumstances, I'm going to spray a little bit of spray on there, accelerator, just to let that set up a little quicker. Flip it over to the front side, the larger 3-inch wide opening. I'm sorry, 6-inch wide opening. We'll add a little bit of glue to that. Take that piece. It's not exactly as wide as the entire structure. It's in just a little bit so that your trim pieces will have enough room to clear, and we'll set that piece right there. Press it down a little bit and make sure we got it on tight. Now for this building, we're going to go with the white sides. I already showed you the green trim that's going to be going on it. So for the sides, again, it comes with 4 pieces for the sides, and there'll be 4 pieces for the ends as well. The 4 pieces for the sides I have right here in front of me. We're leaving those white, as well as leaving the ends. So nothing to get confused with here. All the bigger pieces are all the same length. So whether it's a bigger piece for the end, bigger piece for the side, front, doesn't really matter. You'll see that the secondary piece for the sides is quite a bit longer than the secondary piece for the ends. With this, I like to go ahead and lay the piece up there. It should clear just underneath. You'll see how much room you need to clear underneath of the truss that sticks down a little bit. Take the pencil, put a little mark on there. And then come back and add the glue. take one of the bigger pieces, slide it right into place. Use your fingers, kind of feel the bottom edge of it, making sure we're not pushing down too far. Press it all together a couple times, and that piece will hold in. We're just going to continue around the building with the next size pieces. The next one will go on, and so forth. At the 2 doors, you'll have to cut them a little bit, and we will do that here in just a minute. But for right now, I want to go ahead and show you about the rest of the trusses. Typical kit is going to come with 6 trusses. That's 3 for each end, giving you a little bit of a look of a roof, but also letting you stay open in the middle so that you can still display your toys. So the roof pieces themselves and the purlins are 2 1/4 inches long. So as those sit on here, we want to stick out past a little bit past the truss. So we want to add a little mark on here at 2 inches back and make sure that we do not go beyond that mark, and also so that helps keep us square when we put the piece on. We'll go ahead and do that to both ends. Take your next truss, go ahead and add a little glue right where it's going to go. And again, don't go past your mark or your roof structure's going to look a little funny. Typically you can let that sit there, or if you have a little bit of accelerator, like I do, just go ahead and spray it on there, and our trusses will be lined up. For the next truss, I'm going to eyeball it. You can measure it out yourself, but we're going to go right in the middle between the 2 that we've already installed. There you go. And those should stay lined up very well. Here in a minute, we'll be able to put our roof pieces on that. If you want to double check it, make sure we do have some overhang, which we do. It's a good thing. I'm going to go ahead and finish putting the siding around, and then come back to cutting some of the siding around the doors.